since changed the laws, the banks started basically giving loans with no down payment yearly now. I think that just really hurt from that standpoint. The human nature, sometimes we need some encouragement to have better human nature, to have good discipline.
See, I was a mortgage broker during that time, 2003 area. And the problem wasn't the loans that were being made. The problem was the type of loans that were made.
It was way too loose.
There was an annual percentage in ARM, annual percentage. Annual or adjustable mortgage.
Look, I bought a number of businesses and homes over the last 15 years.
Right.
I never used it at all. I chose.
No, I understand. You see, the banks set it up where people with lower credit rating would qualify for these loans.
And for them, at the moment, it probably allowed them to get in the business of buying a home. And you know, in the end, a lot of those people weren't disciplined enough to save enough or to, you know, whatever.
But see, when you had an ARM, they were to use that time period during that to increase their credit rating. And then, you see, what happened was so many of those ran out of time, and then the big bubble hit them. And then instead of paying the $400 a month they had to pay, then it jumps up to $800 a month.
During that low interest time, back when I was younger,
I think so.
I would have been paying off more my dad.
Famous Sam Hornish Jr. race car driver.
Everybody's here today.
I don't think a person has to be wealthy to own a home.
No, they don't.
But they do have to be responsible.
They've got to be disciplined and responsible. I've always told my kids and a lot of other people, to a large degree in life, it's not how much you make, it's how much you don't waste.
Right.
Yeah.
When my wife and I grew up, I've always had 2 jobs. I never made a lot of money until a few years ago. And my wife, she quit work when our kids were born. They didn't take care of the kids, so you know, we were one each. And look, we built a new home. I built it myself for half of what it would have cost. I saved, and we had enough money to start a business, to go to the bank, get a loan. And I looked at myself as, like I said, I've never been to college. I've never inherited money, you know, from somebody else to do stuff. I've always been, number one, I've been blessed with good health.
Well, see, but back then when we were kids, it was more of a level playing field. It wasn't about, back then it wasn't about who you knew, it was what you could do. But now it's more about who you know, what you can get done.
I mean, to some,
I mean, it really is.
You're Republican, right? So who are you going to back for president this year?
I don't know yet. I'm kind of just watching. Yeah. I do like Herman Cain, though. I gotta say, I like.
You're not looking at Ron Paul at all?
999.
Well, I just don't think
he's been in the running for a long time, and he won that Republican
straw poll.
I just don't. And you know, time will tell. I just don't think he's viable.
How do you feel about his thoughts of auditing the Federal Reserve?
I'm off. Look, I have no use for all this hidden stuff going on in Washington with the Federal Reserve. It's scary. That's not how our government was set up to operate.
Right.
So you know, that kind of stuff like that, I just don't know what to do about it. I think an audit, probably a good idea. I mean, I oversee our 5 state pension systems in Columbus. It's one of my responsibilities. And something we do, we hire independent auditors to come in and audit the pension systems, independent from what they do, because we think that independent look.
That's just newly been done.
No, we've been doing it for years.
Because I know John Casey took a lot of that money. That was in the pension funds, and they worked for Lehman Brothers and gave it away basically.
Yeah, a lot of people made a lot of bad investments. A lot of people lost their money.
Yeah, but that was money. That was money that wasn't supposed to be invested. And it was used to invest for the state, not for the people.
That's how you do it.
Right. Anyway, I'm not sure about that.
Did you know recently there's a study, I don't know exactly where it was, but they said that in the United States there is $1 trillion gap between the money that is being held in pensions and the money that is to be given as benefits.
Most pension funds, public pension funds, are way underfunded. Ohio has some of the healthiest ones because of our oversight.
Right, and they only have like 7%.
Well, we have our pension funds, depending on which of the 5 are, I think the lowest funded is in the 60 percentile range. I think per PERS, which is the biggest one, I think is in the upper 70s. But you know, I've got my pension reform legislation that we're going to pass sometime probably next year that's going to help write all those pension systems and get them fully funded, because we have, that's part of our fiduciary responsibility as legislators, to make sure our pension systems are
that was one of my biggest
so,
disappointments that Kasich
so
became governor.
yeah, but
was
John Kasich has been very supportive of us right-sizing our pension systems.
Right, but he after he drained it. I mean, come on, you gotta. It has to be.
Look,
What do you?
he was a Wall Street guy, and a lot of those guys made a lot of people a lot of money, and a lot of those guys made people poor.
Right.
And when you give somebody else money,
hope they're not Bernie Madoff.
He was just a small fish in that.
I know.
not if he lost all the money though.
Right.
I wouldn't invest in something like
But
that.
see, the problem though, what Kasich did
Common man
is
don't have the money for that.
his influence with the government people.
He never had any influence on any of the five pension systems to cause him to make any investments with him or anything.
But that's where it went. He did.
Not the 5 Ohio pension systems. Look, that's the thing I know a lot about. What he did at the federal, what he did on Wall Street.
From what I know is from people that I know that were invested in the PER.
The accusations were that he used his influence
He got stuck into
cause the pension systems to invest in stuff that
I don't mean to interrupt.
that never happened. Really? No, not with our 5 pension systems.
What was it done with?
Do I have to be holding a sign?
Look, our pension systems had money in the marketplace, and when the market went hell, they lost money like everybody else.
Right. But there were investments made
I know,
through
he's
John
not
Kasich
gonna
to
be
Lehman Brothers.
Relentless.
Yeah.
He tried.
Relentless is semi-informed question.
Well, if I
Not
find,
because of his
I
influence.
got
tell you what,
one.
I'll find it. I'll send it
I
to
mean,
your.
Lehman Brothers is
email.
a
I
huge
can't really do
company.
what it
They
is.
do investment in all kinds of pension systems.
That's my mom.
Well, hey, I'm gonna get running. Thanks for having me. I've
I just
enjoyed
got one
this.
more
All
question. I have
right.
one more. In our United States Constitution, it states that we were founded as a republic, but somehow along the way we got turned into a democracy. Do you know the difference between the two?
Yeah, we need to.
What's the difference between the two? What's the difference? What's a Republican or a republic?
Well, it's not
and what's
Republican.
democracy?
It's not
Republic
Democrat.
with the C. No, it's got nothing to do with the two.
No, I
Republican,
know,
Democrat.
but I thought
Do you know the difference between those two types of government? Republic and democracy.
A republic is right now I'm drawing a blank.
It's a representative.
In a republic, 99% of the people
but-
cannot tell 1% what to do, and vice versa.
Right.
1% can't tell 99. In a democracy, 51 can tell 49%.
If democracy, a simple majority can rule over everything.
And republic's more
Whereas
like
a republic,
representative
you have
democracy.
to respect the minority.
Since you've been talking with us, you've been very open, and I appreciate that.
Right.
Thanks so much.
I have another question. This,
Why don't we start holding signs, stop harassing
the filibustering that's been going on in the Senate over these past 3-4 years in Washington. Yeah, I mean there were over 400 bills that was passed by Nancy Pelosi's House that never was voted on in the Senate because they were all filibustered. There was no budget passed by the Democratic Congress because it was filibustered. It wasn't brought back because it couldn't get 60 votes that was needed to pass the filibuster. Don't you think that this filibuster, where they need 90 votes just to vote on a bill that may help many people, should not be done?
Well, we're going to change our U.S. Constitution because that was all set up by our forefathers about the safeguards of the U.S. Senate being able to protect against radical changes.
Right.
So
and it was meant as a rare usage for like you said radical bills. But there are things that are everyday bills that are passed.
Our U.S. Congress has become incoherent to get anything done. Other than pass continuing budgets, other than when Obama and the Democrats controlled, they did all the what I think is mostly bad stuff, Obamacare and everything else. But I'm probably not for making that process easier to make Washington move faster, because sometimes when it moves fast is when it's most dangerous.
Got to pay attention to you know. It's on. I think for me, it's like on people to pay attention and to hold them accountable, because, like we were saying earlier, people are apathetic and not involved in the process.
But see, the press has so much power that they can lie and say things. I mean, they come out and say this bill was bill was voted down.
That's the great thing
maybe we
about
should
this
start
thing
on that.
here. That will be on YouTube or something.
That's
probably
right.
Tonight.
We'll send a link to
And
your.
the whole new availability of media is great. It might be a saving
But,
grace
I mean,
because
they're to say a bill has been voted down,
Well,
but it wasn't even actually voted on.
most of the media is pathetic in being able to explain to American people what's
Well,
going on.
corporation is corporate owned, and they own the message.
You know, all I know is I'm glad there's a lot of new ways for people to access information. Because having a knowledgeable voter, a knowledgeable group of Americans is just inherently important for our future. And if people don't pay attention, don't care, or ignorant about, whatever elected officials say or do, that's killing us.
Right.
And that's across all the party lines.
Sir, this is what that recent CBO study just came out the other day, which showed that the top 1% gained 200, the average household income after tax. They went through all the details and spelled it all out. But it shows from 1979 to 2007, that top 1% gained 275%. The group below them, the 20% that are really super wealthy also, but not quite that wealthy, they gained 65%, the next group 40%, and the rest, the bottom 20% gained 18%. Do you think that is a good representation of what living in the United States should be about?
Not at all. That's why but on the other hand, the next question is what public policy encourages these people to move up, or at least allow them to move up at a faster pace or closer to.
Right, exactly.
And again, I think it's more freedom, more personal responsibility, more if you do work towards success. Look, we have the welfare system in general, has trapped millions of Americans into a system they can never get out of. Or it's made it so comfortable they don't want to get out of it. And that's part of explaining these first two brackets. Too many Americans have been, in my
Hey, we can't do that.
given too much
No.
free stuff with our tax money, and it traps
No
them
stuff
and
into
they
the
never get
ground.
out.
1% of people are on welfare compared to 1% are here. The middle class is way higher percent of people on welfare. So
Oh, of course.
totally
I mean, I would hope
support
none of that town's on welfare.
Pull them out.
But you address where the
Pull that shit out of the
welfare
ground.
people- And there's a lot of us that are not on welfare, and we're not in that, and we're the majority
the middle
of
class has
people.
been crushed.
Exactly. And what are you doing to help
Well,
us?
in Ohio, we're trying to create a lot better business environment. For everybody across the board, getting rid of a lot of regulations. We have got to become a more competitive state to attract income.
The reason that 1% grew is less regulation. They can do whatever they want with no accountability.
I think it's regulations that favor them and don't allow entrance into the market for smaller businesses.
And there might be regulations, but is there oversight?
I do not favor anybody of any wealth, especially the high people, not paying their fair share of taxes.
Right.
But that's why I want a fair tax, or a flat tax, something simple.
A flat tax
Because
affects the poor more than the other, because we end up paying on everything and the wealthy don't. That sounds simple. All we've got to do is eliminate the
The worst thing for lower wealth people is sales tax. Because that disproportionately affects lower.
I knew who he was.
Sales tax is the worst tax there is for lower wealth people.
Right.
A flat income tax. We can accept if you like $5,000 a year, you pay it.
I watched talking to my watch.
I'm not against wealthy people at all, because that's one of the
Neither are we.
great American
We are
dreams.
not either. We are not against wealthy
The
people.
vast majority, and you weren't here when I speak this.
Okay.
The vast majority of people I know with wealth, that I know, and like I said, I pay about 40% of all my income in taxes.
You really do need a new accountant. If you pay 40% of the income taxes, and you do need a new
I'm telling
accountant.
you, the average small business person who is, again, depends on what your definition of, and that's my background, small business,
Right.
pays similar to that. I'm telling you, people, all this crap that's fed, now there may be billionaires who don't pay income taxes, I guess, I don't know
Warren Buffett obviously.
I don't hang out with them,
Personally,
okay?
don't know any.
So
Warren
I-
Buffett obviously
but
pays
most
less than his secretary.
But most but anyway, most successful small business people who live in our part of the world pay 30 to 40% of their income in taxes.
But see, but aren't there like things like that you could use to deduct depreciation from equipment and property and everything, and all that reduces?
And one argument about not eliminating the depreciation tax incentive is that it does encourage you to make investment in new machinery.
I don't believe that.
But again, now look, I'm not arguing with you. I said I want a flat tax. I'd be happy to get rid of all those
I'd
things.
like to hear
Just
the
have a
pros
flat tax.
and cons better. I haven't looked into that, but God bless you for being here,
I'm not
sir.
gonna make $1
Yeah,
million.
thanks so much.
We appreciate your being
You
here.
bet.
Yes, very
And
much so.
I do need to run, but I enjoyed it. I appreciate the invite.
I appreciate you staying and answering questions.
Yep, and I did hear back from
Yeah.
Senator Haight, so.
So I came back.
Nobody
You
wants
bet. I
to
enjoyed
hear
it.
My
Lot of-
message is
They're
make
having
sure you
too much
vote.
fun,
So
Well, that's what.
I
You
have
can read
already.
these.
One of my wife and I think we're going to be in Florida, so we both will join.